In today's video, I'm gonna walk you through how to create this cute rainbow zipper pouch. This is a great scrappy project. I bet you have a whole pile of beautiful but tiny fabric scraps. This is a perfect project for this. So this is a great little zipper pouch. The pattern for this pouch is available for free in my Facebook group. All you need to do is just join the group and you're gonna have access to the group's file folder, and you can retrieve a copy of this pattern. The pattern will include a full supply list and a full cut list with a printable pattern piece, and based on that you're gonna be able to complete the project following this video tutorial. The link for the Facebook group is in the description box below. Also in the description box below, it's a link to my Etsy store. If you are interested in taking a look at my patterns that are currently available for purchase, you can visit me on Etsy. If you like my tutorials and you would like me to create more videos, please make sure to subscribe to my channel and give the video a like. Let's get started. To get ready to work on our project, we're gonna cut our pattern pieces. We're gonna refer to the printable pattern piece provided with the pattern to cut out the front of our pouch with a hard cutout. We're going to use the same template to cut both our lining pieces and the back panel of the pouch, and we are not going to be cutting out the heart shape in those three panels. We also going to need an interfacing for our rainbow panel. After it's constructed, we're going to apply the interfacing to give it a little more stiffness. We're gonna have a little piece of vinyl to serve as our end cap for our zipper tape, and we obviously gonna have a zipper for our zipper pouch and a zipper pull. I'm using zipper number 5, but you can use zipper number 3. It should be just fine. Also, we're gonna prep our 7 strips of fabrics for our rainbow panel, and that's gonna include red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, and pink. So you want to make sure that you have some scrap of fabrics in similar colors, and make sure that you have your colors in the correct order. You can use solids. I use 2 solids and 5 patterns, and I think it looks just fine, so don't be too hung up on needing to use all solids or all pattern fabrics. To start our project, we're gonna work on the rainbow panel first. So you're gonna lay out your color cotton strips in a correct order, just to make sure we're not gonna mess up our rainbow. And now that you have everything set up in a correct order, you're gonna place the orange on top of the red, right sides together, and clip the green on top of the yellow, and the purple on top of the blue. Now we are just left with the pink strip, because there are 7 colors, so obviously we have 3 pairs and 1 single color. So we're gonna try to chain sew those panels so it's a little bit faster. So you're gonna start with sewing the red orange panel, then yellow green, blue purple, and when you have those 3 pairs connected, you're gonna open the sewn panels and try to press it in a way that the seam allowance is behind the darker color. So let's prep our 3 pairs, and then we're gonna come back to finish up our rainbow panel. I connected my 3 pairs, and now I want to also make sure I bring it back to my table in the correct order. So make sure that you have the red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. And now we want to connect the yellow with the orange. Oops. And the pink with the purple. And repeat what we just did. So you're gonna take it to the machine and stitch it along those edges with the 3/8 of an inch seam allowance and 2.5 stitch length, and then press it open and make sure that the seam allowance is behind the darker color. Now there's only one seam left to connect our rainbow panels, so we're gonna connect the green with the blue. And we're gonna take it to the machine and sew it with the 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. And when that's done, we're gonna open the panel, press the seam allowance, and then attach our interfacing. So make sure your panel is nicely pressed, and then attach the interfacing or iron on the interfacing on the finished panel. Now we have our rainbow panel finished and interfaced. The finished size of the panel should be 5 inches tall and 6 inches in width. That's how we want it to end up. If it's a little bit off, not to worry, it's totally fine. So now we're gonna affix our panel inside of our heart. This way we're gonna create a reverse applique to have the rainbow colors showing through our heart cutout. To do so, we're gonna use our double-sided tape. We want to place double-sided tape around our 4 edges. This way the rainbow panel will stay in place while we are attaching it to our front panel. To start, we're going to remove the backing of the tape that is placed on the top of our panel, and you want to make sure that the red panel is on the left side. So start with placing the heart onto the panel, and you want to make sure that the little middle point of the heart on the top and on the bottom is in the middle of the green stripe. So when we have that, we can just press it, so make sure that our panel won't shift. Now you can continue with the sides. Now that you have your panel affixed to your main outer panel, you're gonna take it to the machine and you're gonna top stitch on the vinyl around the heart with the 1/8 of an inch seam allowance and 3.5 stitch length. I top stitched around my heart opening. As you can see on the video, my vinyl is a little shiny. This is a little tip I want to share. I do not use any special pressing foot to sew on top of the vinyl. Instead, I just put a tiny little bead of machine lubricant, and this way the feet slides nicely on top of the vinyl. that said, please make sure that this is allowed with your machine. My machine seems to be fine with it. I've been doing it for over a year and nothing happened to my machine. And after a while, the lubricant just goes away, or you can just wipe it with a wet wipe. Also, I did not backstitch on the beginning or the end of my seam. Instead, I'm gonna pull the thread on the back side of my project. You just basically pull on those little threads and they're gonna pull through, and you're gonna have a nice clean edge on the right side of your project. Then you can just trim them. You can tie a knot if you like, but that's not something that's gonna be pulled on, so I'm fine without tying a knot. I'm just gonna make sure that the thread is melted on the back side. So now that we have our front panel ready, we're gonna work on our zipper tape. You're gonna take your zipper tape, and we want to create the front folds of the zipper. So you're gonna split your zipper tape on one of the ends and pinch the fabric of the tape to create a 90-degree angle. You can secure that with a pin and repeat that on the other side. You want to make sure that it's relatively equal. We're gonna split the tape while we're sewing it on, so it's not that important for those folds to be exactly the same place, but obviously you want to try to make it as equal as possible, so your final zipper tape will have the same length on both sides of the zipper tape. When you have the zipper ends folded like this, take it to the machine and base in place with the 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. The zipper ends are now based in place, so we're gonna move on to attaching the zipper to the main front panel. You want to place the zipper teeth side down on the top, along the top edge of the panel. You want to start clipping the zipper that it's placed around 1 inch from the left edge of the fabric. And then you want to make a mark. I use a pin to mark a place where I'm around 1.25 inches away from the right edge, and that's where I'm gonna slip my zipper. So I'm gonna take it to the machine and I'm gonna base the zipper along the top edge, starting 1 inch from the left side, and when I get to my mark, I'm gonna slip the zipper and just continue my seam a little bit to make sure that I'm gonna have the zipper attached with the free zipper tail. This is my zipper based to the main panel, and now I'm gonna split the tape, place the panel upside down so I have a reference. Then I'm gonna take my back main panel and mirror the layout of the zipper. So I want to make sure that my zipper starts with the folded edge in the same place. Clip the zipper in place. Take my pin and mark the place where my zipper slips, and repeat the same technique on the second outer panel, and this way my zipper will be in the right place when I connect my panels. The zipper will be zipping up. So do that and take that to the machine and base the zipper, slipping the tail in place with the 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Our zipper is based in place to our both outer panels. So now what we have to do is attach our lining panels. So you're gonna work on one of the panels first, clip the lining in place along the edge with the zipper attached. You want to make sure that the outer panel and the lining are right sides together, and you want to pay attention to the tail of your zipper. You can clip it on the side so it won't accidentally get caught in a zipper seam. Now we're gonna do the same with our back panel. Now that you have both panels prepped, you're gonna take it to the machine and stitch it along the edge with the zipper with the 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, and make sure to back stitch on the beginning on the end of the seam, and repeat that on both panels. Now that you have your lining panels attached, you're gonna open the unit, finger press it, pull the zipper out, and you can secure that with clips. When you have that secured, take it to the machine and top stitch along the zipper tape where the zipper starts and ends. So that's going to be around an inch from each side. So you're going to top stitch along the zipper tape with a 1/8 of an inch seam allowance and 3.5 stitch lengths, and repeat the same thing on the back panel. Now we have our panels top stitch and ready for final assembly. You want to trim the little excess of the fabric of the heart panel by the corners, because that's may get in the way when we are boxing our corners. So trim around an inch of the fabric. It doesn't have to be too precise. So when you have your both panels ready, you're gonna start clipping our back together. So you want to make sure you have your outer panels together and your lining panels right sides together, and you want to align our side seams so we have a nice looking side seam. So pay attention here. Do the same thing on the other end. Make sure that's clipped and nicely aligned. When you have that done, you can continue clipping the pouch row edges all around together. Make sure your tails of your zippers are out of the way. When finishing up clipping the lining, make sure to mark a 3-inch opening in the bottom of the lining to remain unsewn. That's how we're gonna turn our project right side out. So now that you have your project ready, clipped in place, and you are happy with how the side seams align, take it to the machine and sew. I would start with the outer panel from the top, and then again from the top, making sure my seams stay nicely aligned. So the outer panel with the 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, and you can double the seam, so run 2 seams right next to each other to strengthen the seam, so it doesn't the thread doesn't peek through when you turn your project right side out. And when you move to lining, increase gradually the seam allowance to 1/2 inch seam. This way the lining will sit nicer inside of your pouch. So just start with the 3/8 and gradually increase the seam allowance to 1/2 inch and continue the 1/2 inch seam allowance on the bottom. Now that you have your pouch sewn all around, and I doubled my seam on the vinyl, I'm gonna work on boxing my corners. So I'm gonna mark a 1/2 inch squares on each corner, and you want to make sure to measure from the seam and not from the edge of the fabric. Now that you have all your corners marked, you're gonna cut them out. When you have them cut out, you're gonna open the cuts and box your corners. You want to make sure that your side and your bottom seam aligns. I like to put the seam allowances on the opposite sides and nest the seam inside each other. So make sure your opening is nice and straight and the middle seam matches. And repeat that on the other 3 corners. Make sure that your bottom seam allowance is folded the same direction, so I folded it towards the left side on both corners. When you have all your corners prepped, you're gonna take it to the machine and stitch it with the 1/4 of an inch seam allowance on all 4 corners, and you can double your seam on the vinyl. My corners are boxed. Now I'm gonna turn my pouch right side out. I turn my pouch right side out, and I'm happy how it turns out, so I'm ready to move on to my finishing touches. First, I want to finish up my zipper, so I'm gonna make sure that the zipper tape is aligning. I also trimmed around 1 inch from the zipper tails. I just felt it was a little too long. If you like it longer, you can leave it longer. If you like shorter, just trim it shorter. Just make sure you will have enough space to attach your zipper end on, because obviously you will need that for the zipper to be functional. So we're gonna fold our pouch in a way that it's gonna be sitting when it's closed, and our zipper fronts are meeting right in the same spot, so that's great. And then we want to make sure that the zipper tape is the same length and mine is looking all right. If yours tails are a different length, just trim the longer one. Then you're gonna take your zipper pull and insert it halfway through on the left side of the zipper tape. Then take your right side end and insert it inside the zipper pull. Make sure the zipper tape aligns and push the zipper pull on. I like to grab my zipper tape together and just push my zipper pull on, and it goes in nice and easily. And I'm happy how it looks like here, so I got lucky with the first try. But if your zipper is not aligning correctly at the front, just give it another go. It's better to just try a couple times than have a crooked zipper that you'll have forever and it's gonna bother you every time you look at it. So now that our zipper pull is on, we can move on to attaching our zipper end. You take your little piece of vinyl, fold it in half, and put the exposed edge of the zipper inside your little zipper tab. You can take it to the machine and sew it on, but I'm gonna use rivets to attach my zipper tab. So I prepped 2 pairs of 5mm rivets. That's just something I have. You can use rivets that are a little larger, but I wouldn't go to like a huge rivet because they're not going to fit on each end of the zipper tape. So when you have your top ready, you, like I said, you can go and to the machine and sew it on with the top stitch of 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, or you can use your rivets. I'm gonna use my rivets. I have my little zipper top completed with my rivets. You can leave it out like this, or if you prefer your zipper hidden inside, you can just stick it inside your purse. And just have a nice clean look to the zipper on the top. So my pouch is almost ready, but let's not forget about closing our lining. So pull out your lining out of your bag, pull on the open ends and fold the raw edges inside. You can secure that with clips or press it, and take it to the machine and close it with the top stitching of 1/16 of an inch seam allowance and 2.5 stitch length. My rainbow heart zipper pouch is completed. I closed the lining, so now my pouch is ready to be used. I also decided to connect my top stitching on the front of the pouch because I'm using pretty stiff marine vinyl. I figured that's gonna help with the seam allowances inside to sit nice and flat. If you're using something softer, you don't have to worry about, but if that's something you would like to do, just open your zipper, take it to the machine and connect the top stitching from the back to the front panel, and you're gonna be done. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and you like this project. If you did, please make sure to subscribe to my channel and give it a like. Just a reminder that this pattern is free. All you need to do is just visit my Facebook group, join, and you can retrieve the PDF pattern from the group's file folder. The link to the Facebook group is in the description box below. Till the next time.